Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with more Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. And this time I want to talk about the inevitable excess DLC that was released last week. By now you have probably seen a review, or at least heard some feedback regarding the DLC, and let's be honest, it is overwhelmingly negative. Let me say up front that I personally enjoyed the DLC, but I enjoyed it in a way most players cannot relate to due to several unforced errors on the part of Owlcat. I say unforced because in my opinion, it should have been obvious this DLC was not going to work, but apparently that is not the case. First and foremost, they allow you to import your commander and all the companions. I think that is a terrible decision. If you let people import their commander, then you are forced to provide them with a role-playing experience that takes their commander's decisions into account. People love Wrath of the Righteous because it lets them spend dozens of hours crafting a very particular character. You cannot provide players with an experience that directly involves the commander, but has very little reactivity to their previous choices, and then expect them to enjoy the journey. Well, actually, I take that back. There is one way you could do it. Unfortunately, that leads into the next unforced error. I came into this DLC expecting to actually go to Axis or Maelstrom. I understand Owlcat never explicitly said that's what we would do, but it was the strong inclination that I felt. In fact, I am curious, for the people who followed Owlcat's marketing, did you feel like we were going to Axis? Because going into this, I thought the commander would be taken into a completely different plane, where all the stuff you did before wouldn't matter, and that would give Owlcat the freedom to craft an experience completely free of consideration for what we had done before. That is not what this DLC is at all. You will spend the majority of your time running through areas very similar to what you experience in the main game. There are smaller pockets of time where you will be temporarily transported to a different plane, but there are no people to talk with or side quests to complete in these areas. They basically just look different, and they are marred by the third unforced error: puzzles. This DLC has multiple puzzles in it. I don't mind puzzles in games at all. I do not like it when a game forces me to complete multiple puzzles in order to move forward in the main story. I think the Batman Arkham games handled this the best with the Riddler puzzles. If you wanted to do them, you could, and it unlocked extra content, but you could completely avoid them if you wanted to. Instead, Inevitable Excess has multiple points that require you to complete puzzles. These puzzles aren't rocket science, but you can't just push buttons to solve them either. There were puzzles in Wrath of the Righteous, and they were pretty much universally hated. These puzzles aren't nearly as bad as that, but I don't understand why Owlcat would make it a focal point of their DLC. Quick note before we get into the final unforced error. If you have enjoyed this overview, I would really appreciate you hitting the like button. I use the likes on a video to help me determine what the community wants to see. In addition, you doing that really helps the channel by making the content spread. Alright, now the last unforced error I see with the game is the audience they seem to be targeting. In my opinion, how much you like the DLC is determined by how familiar you are with all the mythic quest lines. This DLC has a lot of different quests involving characters across different mythic paths. None of it makes you feel like your original mythic quests are continuing, but if you know the characters and their importance, then some parts of the content can be a lot of fun. So honestly, I had a good time with the DLC since I understood everything that was happening. But let's be honest, how many people actually bothered to play more than one mythic path? A lot of you keep restarting characters and can't even make it out of Act 1. Consequently, there are a lot of people just confused by the quests this game offers and the characters in them. If none of that bothers you, then you'll probably have a good time with the content. Again, it doesn't bother me, and I enjoyed my time for the most part. There is a cool story that's involved in it, and you meet a couple of new characters that have some really nice voice acting. And even though you don't really see the full Axis or Maelstrom, they do talk about it. So you get a little bit of information about a completely different slice of life. But I definitely understand where the frustration is coming from regarding the people who did not like this DLC. And hopefully Owlcat's next story DLC will appeal to a lot more of the fan base. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.